People say dreams aren't real, that they're just your brain making noise while you sleep. I used to believe that too, until the Christmas I remembered something I was never supposed to. It was a few days before Christmas. I was 15. The house was cold, the kind of cold that seeps through the walls no matter how high you turn the heater up. My mom was decorating, my dad was quiet like always, and my sister Francie was in her room. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, there was a gingerbread house sitting on the kitchen table. It was perfect, too perfect. Thick frosting, gumdrops on the roof, candy canes lining the windows. Francie told me not to touch it yet. She said it needed to be photographed first. I reached for it anyway. That's when I noticed something strange. Standing just behind Francie was another Francie. Same height, same face, same clothes. She didn't talk. She didn't move on her own. She just stood there, slightly behind the real one, like a shadow that had weight. I woke up shaking. The dream felt wrong, not scary in a monster way, scary in a memory way, like I had remembered something I wasn't ready for. The next morning, I asked my mom about it. "Mom, did I ever talk about weird dreams when I was little?" I asked. She hesitated. That was the first bad sign. "What kind of dreams?" she said carefully. "About extra people," I said, "like doubles." Her face went pale. "Oh, Nathan," she said quietly, "I didn't think you still remembered." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean, remember?" I asked. She didn't answer right away. She just stared at me like I was something fragile she might break. "You and your sister," she finally said, "you both had others." My heart started pounding. "What do you mean, others?" She sighed. "You both had another body, not another person, just another you." I laughed because it sounded insane, but then something clicked. I remembered it. I remembered not being alone in my own body. When I was little, I always felt complete, like there was never any silence inside me, like I was always being quietly watched by myself. I remembered Francie too. Not one Francie, two, always standing together. "Where did they go?" I whispered. My mom looked away. "There's no point thinking about that. You were ready to live on your own." That's when I ran. I didn't know where I was going. I just needed air. I ran into the backyard, my breath coming out in white clouds. The grass was wet and frozen. Then I saw the space behind the garage, a narrow gap, dark, smelling like dirt and trash. I don't know why I went there. I just knew I had to. Behind the garage were two long black bags, like body bags. One of them moved. I froze. The garage light flicked on. My dad was standing there, staring at me. His face was empty, not angry, not sad. The bag unzipped. A hand came out. My hand. What crawled out of that bag was me, or what was left of me. My other body was rotting, skin falling apart, bugs crawling where flesh should have been. I could see ribs through torn skin. I screamed, but even through the horror, I felt something else. Connection, like a missing part snapping back into place. I grabbed him. I don't know how I didn't pass out. I lifted my other body and carried him into the yard. Then I heard a voice. "Nathan." Francie was standing there, both of her, one normal, one decaying just like mine. "They said you were ready to be alone," she told me calmly. "What did they do to us?" I cried. "They were backups," she said, "spare parts,
extra organs, just in case. "That's not true," I said. "He was me." "Yes," she said, and that was the problem. She knelt down and looked at me gently. "You relied on yours too much," she said. "You never learned how to be alone." "I needed him," I said. "I know," she replied, "but they decided you didn't anymore." I felt teeth at my neck, pain, warm blood, then nothing. I woke up in a hospital. They said I had collapsed from shock. They said I imagined everything. That was 15 years ago. Francie moved away, got married, had kids. She never talks to me anymore. Sometimes when I dream, I feel him again, my other self, close, waiting. I'm not whole. I was never meant to be. And one day, when they finally decide I'm ready, I think they'll take what's left of me too.
I was not planning on facing my potential demise when I started on my stroll that chilly late December night. My intention was no more than to find something to quench my very pregnant wife's cravings, along with some desperately needed solitude for myself. I don't mean to sound insensitive by any means. I do love my wife, Elena, very much. I think I fell for her within the first few moments of the initial meeting that brought us together. I had been alone for many years before my friends took it upon themselves to arrange the blind date. I had never cared for such things, but even an introvert such as I could be consumed with loneliness from time to time. She was truly a delight to be around, and it amazed me to find that we had so much in common. I consider myself to be of fairly unique taste, and it has always been difficult for me to form relationships. My small circle of friends had been in my life for what felt like centuries sometimes, but I never could have predicted they would be the ones to introduce me to my soulmate. We married within mere months of being together. I worried we were rushing things a bit, that perhaps we had not yet outgrown our honeymoon phase, but I had never been so happy in my life. Over the years, our love for each other never grew stale or predictable, and when she became pregnant, we were overjoyed at the thought of bringing a new member into the family. Unfortunately, my poor Elena endured some complications over the last few months and has found herself mostly bedridden. I have done my best to be the loving and supportive husband she has needed over this troubling time, but this has left little room for me to be alone with my thoughts, a necessity for the introverts of the world. So, when she had a late-night craving, I was more than happy to take it upon myself to head out for a spell. She was hesitant to let me leave as it was getting quite late, and surely few stores would still be open. I assured her I would be able to track something down, but she still practically begged me to stay home. There had been a rash of killings of late in our humble little town of Northvale. The victims had primarily been brunette women, 4 dark-haired ladies and 3 men of no distinct pattern, to be precise. Our local sheriff feared a serial killer was at large, but I presumed he had just watched entirely too many crime shows. Perhaps I was too quick to dismiss his suspicions, as well as proving a little too eager to escape the house for a bit, but I understood Elena's concerns. I promised her I would keep my phone handy should she need me before I kissed her on the forehead and made my way out into the night. It may have been wiser for me to arm myself with something more intimidating than my trusty pocket knife, but I wasn't overly concerned. This wouldn't be the first time I had braved the brisk night air for a midnight snack for my love, and I'm sure it won't be the last. So I left out for my stroll, leaving the snow-covered car parked. It would have obviously made my trip faster had I chosen to drive, but I wasn't the biggest fan of driving on slippery roads. Plus, the walk would allow much more time for me to enjoy a bit of solitude. Once I was far enough away from the house, I lit a cigarette. My wife wasn't exactly fond of the habit that had been a part of my life since my teen years, but that wouldn't stop me from sneaking a few in when I got the chance. This was another thing that was far rarer of late.
There are worse things people do behind their spouse's back, so I wasn't exactly burdened with guilt over it. She does have an uncanny sense of smell, though. I always keep hand sanitizer and a small bottle of cologne in my jacket pocket for such occasions. Normally, on nights like these, she would be too distracted by whatever goodies I brought her to be concerned with whether or not I had snuck in a smoke or two. Within 15 minutes, I was pushing through the door of Quick Mart Express. It was a decent little convenience store, which they had all decked out in Christmas flair. I toured the snack aisle while the Little Drummer Boy echoed from the speakers above my head. I always looked forward to hearing the festive music in the stores this time of year, though many would just have the droning elevator-style tunes for ambient background music. Fortunately, my old buddy Marcus behind the counter made sure to provide songs from his own playlists.
There were only 2 other people in the store at this hour, an older gent scratching lottery tickets up front and another guy in the back sporting a brown hoodie and a thick winter coat. I couldn't see his face, but he appeared to be just aimlessly window shopping. Finding nothing to fit my wife's cravings just right, I delved into the snack cakes. I dropped my arm full of Twinkies, ding-dongs, and donuts on the counter, to which Marcus chuckled. "Want some insulin to go with that?" he laughed. "May not hurt to grab a shot or two," I replied with a smile. "Elena about ready to pop?" Marcus asked. "You have no idea," I laughed. "You know that guy?" I asked, nodding toward the man in the brown hoodie. "Never seen him before," Marcus replied, handing me the double-bagged sack of goodies. "Just be safe, man," I said. "No worries," he replied, tapping the shotgun barrel beneath the counter. "Merry Christmas," I said as I headed for the door. The cold breeze practically smacked me in the face when I stepped outside. I decided to head back home for the car. I dug my earbuds out, cued my Christmas playlist, and started walking. I never saw it coming. Whatever struck me across the back of the head knocked me unconscious instantly. When I woke, I was strapped to a cold metal table in a dark room. Leather restraints bound my wrists and ankles. My coat and shirt were gone. My breath fogged in the air. Lights flickered on. "Wasn't sure if anyone else would be out this late," a voice said behind me. He stepped into view, the man from the store. "I was gonna grab the old guy, but then you walked in." He pulled down his hood. He unlocked a cabinet full of blades. "I try not to linger in one place too long." He tied on an apron. "Being Christmas and all, I'll give you a choice," he said casually. "Quick and easy or slow?" I stalled him. We talked. We debated. He left the room to find a coin. That's when I cut myself free. When he came back, he slipped, knocked himself out, and the coin rolled across the floor. I strapped him down. I called my wife. She answered immediately. "I'm sorry I couldn't find what you wanted," I told her softly, "but I found something better." She sounded relieved. Elena had been craving brunette women for weeks. It wasn't always easy being married to a werewolf, but we made it work. I put on his apron, picked up the coin. "Heads," I said. "Looks like quick and easy." I put on Christmas music and got to work. Christmas always felt quieter at my grandmother's house. Too quiet. The kind of quiet where the ticking clock sounds loud and the walls feel closer at night. That year, my parents were away, so my sister and I stayed with her for the holidays. The house was old, but warm, the kind of place that still smelled like pine cleaner and dust. In the guest room, there was an old TV with a VCR built into it. One afternoon, while looking for board games, I found a cardboard box pushed deep into the closet. Inside were VHS tapes. Most of them were normal. Birthday parties, Christmas mornings, a zoo trip from years ago. Then I saw one tape with no label, no writing, no date, just a strip of black plastic with scratches across it. I took it to my grandmother. She looked at it for half a second. Her smile faded. "Put that back," she said. I laughed. "Why?" She didn't answer, just turned back to the sink. That night, when everyone was asleep,
curiosity won. I slid the tape into the VCR. The screen filled with static. Then the image appeared. A living room. Not ours. The camera was shaking slightly, like it had been left on a table. Christmas lights blinked in the background. A tree stood in the corner. The footage felt wrong. Too grainy, too dark around the edges. Then the image glitched. The screen froze. A loud crackling sound burst through the speakers. For half a second, I heard something underneath the static. Low, wet, almost like breathing. I leaned closer. The tape suddenly jumped forward. Now the camera was pointed at a hallway. The lights flickered. And then I heard it again. A growl. Not loud, not aggressive, just present. I ejected the tape. The room felt colder immediately. I told myself it was just damaged audio. Old tapes do that. I didn't watch it again that night. The next evening, snow started falling hard. My sister wanted to watch movies, so we sat in the living room. Grandma went to bed early. At some point, I noticed the VCR light was on. I hadn't touched it. The unlabeled tape was inside. The TV turned on by itself. Static first, then the same footage. But this time, it was worse. The image glitched every few seconds, bending and stretching like the tape was melting. The sound wasn't just static anymore. There was something under it. A deep, uneven growling. Not like a dog, not like anything I recognized. My sister asked quietly, "What is that sound?" I didn't answer. On the screen, the camera moved. Not smoothly, like it was being dragged. The hallway got closer. Each glitch made the image jump forward, and with every jump, the growling got louder, closer. I slammed the eject button. The tape came out slowly, like it didn't want to. That night, I dreamed of static, of sound stretching and snapping, of something trapped, scratching from the inside. On Christmas Eve, the power flickered, just once. When it came back on, the TV was already playing. The tape had started again. This time, the footage wasn't a house, it was snow. A shaky shot of trees, a yard, Christmas lights blinking in the distance. It looked like our neighborhood. The growling was constant now, layered, like more than one throat making the sound. The image glitched violently, and suddenly the camera pointed straight at a door. Our front door. I heard a noise behind me. The VCR rewinding. Click, whir, click. The footage restarted. Same door, same angle, but closer. The growling wasn't coming from the TV anymore. It was coming from the speakers and the walls. I finally yelled for my grandmother. She came in, pale and shaking. She didn't look at the screen. She unplugged the TV. The silence stopped instantly. She sat down heavily and told me the truth. Some tapes were never meant to be played. Sometimes recording catches more than images. Sound bleeds through first. She said the tape had been found years ago, buried in snow, still warm. They tried to destroy it, but it always came back. And every time it played, the glitches got worse, and the sound got closer. She whispered, "It doesn't want to be seen. It wants to be heard." That night, she locked the tape in a metal box and put it in the garage. Christmas morning felt normal. Too normal. Until I noticed something. The TV was unplugged, but the speakers were making noise. Very faint. A low, distorted growl. Like it was coming from inside the walls. From inside the house. From somewhere the tape didn't need anymore. I went to the garage. The metal box was empty. Empty. On the floor, I saw black plastic shavings. Chewed. That night I lay awake listening. The growling moved, room to room, slow, patient. And somewhere in the house, something was replaying itself, without a screen, without a tape, without stopping.
A few years ago, I did something I can't undo. I'm not telling this for sympathy. I don't deserve it. I'm telling it because Christmas is coming again, and some lists don't forget. It started after my girlfriend left me. Her name was Emily. I know how that sounds. People break up all the time. You're supposed to move on, be mature, accept it. I didn't. I felt embarrassed, replaced, like everything I'd done for her meant nothing. I gave her a place to stay, helped her when she had nothing, and she walked away like I was disposable. That's when the anger started. I couldn't sleep. My chest felt tight all the time. Every quiet moment turned into rage, and one night, when it got unbearable, I opened my laptop. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just somewhere to throw my anger, somewhere ugly. That's when I found the site. It wasn't flashy, no ads, no homepage, just a single page with a title at the top, The Naughty List. Under it, one sentence: know someone who deserves to be remembered this Christmas? I should have closed it. Instead, I laughed. I clicked. The page changed slowly, like it didn't want to load all at once. Then a form appeared. Simple, clean, almost childish. Name, age, birthday, city. At the top, a message. Santa is preparing his list. Fill in the details. He'll handle the rest. I didn't think it was real. It felt like a joke, some edgy Christmas prank. So I typed her name, Emily Carter. I added her age, her birthday, her city. There was a section for photos. I hesitated for half a second. Then I uploaded them. Not everything, just enough. At the bottom of the page, a warning popped up. Once a name is added, it cannot be removed. Santa checks twice. I clicked yes. The page refreshed. A final message appeared. Thank you. Naughty List submission received. Please enjoy the holidays. That was it. No countdown, no threats, nothing dramatic. I closed my laptop and went to bed feeling lighter. The next few days, nothing happened. No angry messages, no public posts, no drama. I told myself it was fake, just some stupid site. Then the police knocked on my door. 2 officers, serious faces. They asked when I last saw Emily. I told them the truth, 2 weeks ago. They said she'd been missing for nearly 7 days. Last seen leaving her mother's house to go Christmas shopping. She never came back. I wasn't arrested. I had an alibi, cameras, witnesses. They thanked me and left. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Every day after that felt heavier. Christmas lights went up around the city, and every one of them made me sick. I couldn't stop thinking about that site, about the warning, about the list. 3 weeks later, they found her. An abandoned factory outside the city. Cold, empty, forgotten. She was inside one of the old chimneys, stuffed in a large red sack, like a toy. They identified her by a note folded and pushed into her eye socket. Just one line, written neatly on cheap paper. Naughty List, Emily, you should have been good. I collapsed when I heard. I still hear it in my head sometimes, the way the officer said her name, calm, professional, like it didn't ruin my life. Christmas comes every year now. I don't decorate anymore. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear something outside, a low dragging sound, a soft, wet rustling,
like fabric being pulled across concrete. And once, just once, I heard a voice outside my door. Not loud, not angry, just a whisper. He knows when you've been naughty. I never opened the door. I never will.